I spoke with the inspiring Will Dennett, number 88, in September 2024, the day before the final 2 rounds of the AORC at Nowra. He ended up finishing the year in third behind Daniel Milner and Jonte Reynders. We spoke about how he got to where he is in the Shop Yamaha team, his future world champion ambitions, and how he will leverage that to set himself up for financial freedom. We touched on what he talks about with his former teammate, Kyron Bacon, continually developing technique, being very tall, and his Dad Meggsie, plus how he juggles working racing and tinkering with cars. Will was the 4th person I spoke to who was most definitely made in dirt. At the time of recording this, I have 9 more ready to go, so please hit subscribe to be notified, like and share to help boost content we all love.
Will, thanks for joining me.
No worries.
Interesting to talk to you. Obviously, we worked a little bit together a couple of months back.
Yep.
On a Yamaha shoot.
Yep.
Yeah, it was interesting to see, like, you're 18. It's such a young age, but you seem to be, I don't know, wise beyond your years.
Oh, thanks for that.
What do you put that down to? Like, I know you're a 4th year apprentice.
Third
year apprentice?
Yep, 3rd year apprentice.
Carpenter?
Yep. Oh, can't really pinpoint to what, but growing up, I remember I always used to go riding, and I always used to go ride with Dad and all his mates. So I never really I hang out with friends and stuff, but I always was out riding with Dad and all his mates. So I must have got them wisdom from all them older people, and they just seemed to teach me things a lot because I wasn't hanging around so many children. I was just hanging around adults. So.
Are you the oldest in your family?
Middle child.
Middle?
Yeah. So I had an older brother that raced, and I got a younger sister that just never really got into it, but she rides every now and again.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Hang out with older people, and like you're up Lismore way.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a more a country thing or just city kids. I guess it's the riding. It must be the riding, because I know a lot of city kids don't get to hang out with a lot of other adults.
Yeah.
In an environment like where everyone's got to be capable. If it's in the city, it'd be, I don't know, kids are over here and the adults are over here talking. And
yeah, I just seemed to, it was like I just tagged along with all, I was never like, oh, can't take the kids, like to all Dad's mates never told Dad that he could never take us riding. Like they all just brought us up and helped us. Like we were struggling on something, they'd give us advice, and it was just all I think I spent probably most of my time just hanging out with Dad and his mates. Like I had friends obviously, but it was usually when I went to the tracks or motocross or something, you hang out with your friends there.
When did you start riding? What age?
It was just before my 3rd birthday. So
wow.
my birthday's the 29th of December. Yeah. So I got my first dirt bike on Christmas.
Wow.
So 25th, and I was riding it Christmas Day. So it would have been just before I turned 3.
What was it?
A JR50 Suzuki.
Oh, yeah. Where did you ride? Was it in a dirt bike club, like Mini Kana, or just in the bush?
Just we got heaps of state forests and stuff around us, and you're not meant to ride in there, but we always did. And then I started just riding around down to Pop's farm, just around their lawn.
On the grass.
Just on the grass, and then we just eventuated into just riding more and more, just more trails, more bush, and then I think we did a bit of motocross and a bit of, I didn't really start motocross that early. I think it would have been 7 or 8. Like you can start earlier, but just enjoyed riding. I didn't really.
What did you start riding when you were doing motocross? What bike?
65. So I was always a big kid. Like, so I was too big for a 65 at like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then I got onto, I think 85s you get on when you're 9. So it seemed to be, as I grew up, I was always big for my bike, and I was always too big. So every time I moved up a bike size, I seemed to get better because I was just more comfortable on the bigger wheels or bigger machine.
What age did you overtake your dad and all his mates in speed and ability?
Can't really remember, but it would have been around probably 13, 14. I got on a 250F when I was 13. I was riding, so I was such a big kid that I was riding 125s when I was 10, just trail riding, but I wasn't old enough to race one. So I had this old Husky 125 that was my brother's bike, and he would race it, and then I would practice on it because I would wear out the 85 too quick because I was too big. And then I just ride. So I've been riding big bikes ever since I was like 10, 11.
So we probably should say, because before I met you, I saw some videos of you talking and saw you riding. You don't look that big on the bike, but you're 6'4", which
Yeah.
is pretty big.
Yeah,
Pretty tall for anyone.
194 centimeters.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I think I base that down to technique, because when I was like 13, 14, I put a big emphasis on learning how to ride properly, and just took it because there's so much information out there now that I didn't need coaching I did a little bit of coaching when I was younger with a couple of local pros. And then when I got to 13, 14, I just researched, got into it really good. And then I improvised, I got the information and then tried it and then see what worked for me. So,
where did you get the information?
Well, it was like internet or YouTube or just watching people and listening to what they said. Like you'd watch American nationals and European stuff and you listen to what they're saying and you watch them, and it was just trying things that they were doing.
Do you remember anything? Do you remember anything that you watched and then went, I'm going to do that because that looks cool, or I could use that?
The big thing was on your toes, riding on your toes. And I've been doing that since I was 13.
Really?
And that's when I started doing it. But now it's like, the more understanding, I thought it was just on the toes all the time. Where now it's like progressing a bit of using everything, a bit of both. But it was like, you got to ride, I ride with a real straight back and real engaged core and all these movement things. Because I'm so tall, I need to ride like that, because if I didn't, I'd be a big hunchback, like that like normal tall people look on a bike.
You've been working on technique since you were, around then, 13, 12, 10 probably.
Yeah.
When you ride now, can you just
It's
look
just
ahead and you don't have to think?
It's just in there now.
Yeah. That sucks. I learned to ride on the balls of my feet, started when I was 50.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know why, but man, when I was young and when your dad was young,
yeah, there's nothing. There was
nothing.
You didn't learn off any videos or
We might have gone to a Stephen Gall school or something, which I didn't. That was really the only way, was the odd school that was around.
It's funny because it takes you, I think it's 500 times to do something repeatedly to just do it naturally, just do it without thinking. So I got all these things dialed when I was 14, 15, 16, just learning things. And so now when I'm 18, it's just all in there, and just I don't have to think about it anymore.
Do you see that's the case with a lot of your other peers, a lot of other racers? Are they the same, or do they still have to work on stuff?
Well, everyone's working on stuff, really. There's no one that's perfect and happy with everyone's looking. If you get to a certain level where you're always chasing something, you always can be better. There's room, it could be in your bike and your technique. It's just learning. It's learning what's better and what's worse. It's not really because you don't improve all the time. Sometimes you got to learn what's the wrong way, which if you learn it's the wrong way, you don't go that way, you go the other way.
Well, you start realizing something's not working.
Yeah.
You might have drifted off a good path to something.
Yeah, so if you try something and it doesn't work, then it's not really a bad thing, because now you know to not do that or avoid it, and you start chasing other things.
Well, what are you working on?
Well, at the moment, it's always a lot of bike setup and understanding bikes, because a lot of people have, they know how to ride a bike, but they don't know how to set it up. So my dad's a mechanic, and he's always understood how everything works, being biomechanical side of things. So he's just tried to implement that to me and try to give me the understanding of how to set up a bike and why the bike does things and what causes that, and how do you. So it's funny because I can ride around things now because I understand why it's doing that and what I need to do to compromise or adapt to it.
Do you find that you have to ride around things, or is that because the bike can't be set up exactly the way you want?
It's funny because
because of your height, or
I have. So there's a positive to my height and there's negatives. So negative height. So they're really not negative or positive. So I've got lots of leverage on the bike because I'm so tall. I put so much more leverage on the shock or the fork, so I can move 100 mil forward or backwards and put way more weight on the bike than what someone 5'6" or 5'7" is. But then it's also it could be a negative for me in some spots. But then I've always thought it as a positive because I can't change it. That's just my height. So I look at it as a positive because I can use my leverage as an advantage. So just because if my bike's too soft or it's too like the forks are too soft, I can just get further back and put more weight on the rear and keep the front light.
Yeah, that's interesting. And how do you go communicating with the team? With the, like, I guess there's AJ, but there's other people in the, you know,
Yeah,
who
so
are sorting your suspension out. And how do you
Dad
talk to
is
them?
so he's my race day mechanic. So because we're father and son, we communicate very well together and we understand, like, we can get things across to each other very quickly.
Short.
And AJ, and AJ is very similar. Like, I think the way we like a bike is very similar, which helps.
Who? You and AJ?
Me and AJ. We
Oh,
like
right.
a bike very similar.
Yeah.
Not
and he's
like
a foot
exactly
shorter
the
than
same.
you.
Yeah. We like the bike setup pretty similar.
Yeah.
And then
Well, what's that?
well,
When
what do you mean by that?
can you describe how you and AJ like your bike set up
just
compared to, I don't know, just Kyron have it different?
I don't know how. So Kyron, I don't know what Kyron. I don't know. I don't really get feedback from him because it's not different. But we just, because me and AJ, because I think the way we understand suspension, because he's a very mechanical, he understands suspension, and then so some people, I think I've got a lot more understanding than what a lot of people do with suspension. So we can communicate together because we both have a pretty good understanding. Where I don't know if Kyron's got, I don't really talk to him about suspension. So I don't know if he does, but me and AJ get along really good because we're both on understanding.
So do you get your hands dirty with suspension?
He does all the servicing and all that stuff. I don't go on there and change shim stacks, and we do forks with seals and springs and stuff, but nothing like valve stack changes and stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting. You and Kyron don't talk like that. What do you guys tend to relate to each other about if it's not bike setup?
We don't really talk much serious stuff.
Yeah.
We're just pretty much mates. I like having Kyron as a teammate. We're very casual. Both of us are very casual, and there's no real competitive clash between us. Like, we're just both very, like, I'm doing what he's doing, he's doing what he's doing, and we just kind of just talk whatever. Like, when we're at the races, we don't really talk much about racing, or we just
Sure. You probably need to, relax and think about other things.
Yeah, we just talk about whatever, 4 drives or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
What's it like now you're on the Shop Yamaha team? Is that a big change from?
Yeah, well, last year was
privateer?
a very not privateer, but we had to sort everything and sort all the travel and the bike was, AJ was giving us a hand with the bike, but it was nothing to what I got now. There's just a lot more ease and a lot more, it's a lot easier now. So we don't have to worry about any of the bike, like getting the bike ready, getting the bike for the races. I can focus on my training and my riding and making sure I'm the best rider I am on race day.
How do you work with your practice bike and your race bike? Like, do you try and keep them set up the same?
They're very similar. So we try things on the practice bike and we get it. If we see an improvement in the practice bike, we will translate that to the race bike for race weekend.
So you're at home making the changes?
Yeah. So every time we're riding, we're trying to improve or understand what the bike, because there's so many different conditions with dirt bikes. Like, you could be riding one day a hard pack gravel section, or you could be riding deep sand, or you could be riding mud, or like good soft clay. So it's just trying to get my understanding of how the bike reacts to different soils and weather conditions and stuff like that.
How do you do that when you're in, I don't know, I'm in Lismore and you're about to go, I don't even know what the soil's like at Lismore. If you're about to do Menduran, how do you train for that? You're not far from the beach up there.
Oh, we got a couple like sand tracks, but you got to find them. Like, we got a lot of connections up there, and we know a lot of people that have good private sand tracks, but it's hard to find look like matching. It's just trying to get a feel for what it should be like. So, like, Mendoran's deep sand, fast. We don't have much fast sand, but we got sand. So it's like, you kind of get it close to where you think it's going to be good, and then because of the speed, you might stiffen it up or make it a bit slower. But it's just getting you can pretty much get it as close as you can to race conditions while you're practicing. So if we know we're going to Mendora, we will ride sand every weekend, every time we ride until we get to Mendora. And then if we go the next round, say Q&P, which is hard pack and rocky, you'd just be trying to search that for that soil.
What do you like? What do you personally like? What you grew up on? Is that your favourite?
We ride a lot of like Kyogle and stuff like that, which is like good, dark loam, which is probably my favourite. But I don't mind sand. Sand's fun. Hard pack's not really it's not the nicest to ride, but I can ride it. But I find more enjoyment out of riding like loamy sand stuff.
What about, I don't know, rocky?
Yeah, depends what rocks it is.
Yeah.
If it's like little, like heaps of them, I don't mind the big rocks, like the big slab stuff. But just, we got a lot of technical rocky stuff at home that we do ride. So.
Yeah, I love riding sandstone. It just seems so
grippy. It's real grippy, isn't it?
It's just something wild about it, just to ride up it. I don't know. When you were younger, riding a 125 and you weren't allowed to race it, do you think that is a good idea to limit it bike size to age? Like, do bike riders need to be saved from themselves? Could they be allowed to just ride what they want? Like,
yeah, well,
why can't you ride a 125 when you're a big kid and it just suits you? Is it safer?
For me, because I would have been 5'6" when I was 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So I just fitted, like I was still racing in 85 and I was competitive on it. It just was the wear and tear. Like because I was heavy on the 85, so it put more wear and tear. But like, I don't know. Well, that's really what, I don't really see a problem with it because I was bigger. But then when I stepped onto a full-size bike, I seemed to grow arms and legs because I was so much bigger and stronger than a lot of other kids that were smaller and struggled when they, like say, were good on 85s and little bikes, and then they got on a full-size bike and they seemed to struggle.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as I feel like the age is good for a lot of average kids, but I'm not an average size kid. So
yeah, but the kids that aren't average kind of sucks for them.
It didn't seem to worry me. So
yeah, sure.
I was always competitive, but I just struggled. Like I wasn't winning everything. I never really won much when I was junior, but I was still like podiums.
Yeah. Well, what do you think stopped you being on the top step?
I would have been probably 65 kilo when I was.
So weight? Yeah,
weight, probably power to weight. Like a lot of these other kids with little whippets, and they're probably 40 kilos on an 85. Yeah, I was always quick on one. It was just them little bits, but then we got to 125s and 250s, and I seemed to just be better. Well, I actually never really, like I started winning state stuff and stuff like that, but I never won an Aussie until I was 14.
Yeah.
Never won one. I was always second, third, but it was good because it made me want it.
The more it gets held off from you, the more if your desire's there, you want it even more for sure.
Yeah, that's what I found.
If it becomes easy, you probably wouldn't be racing now.
Probably. It would maybe because I'd never, like I was on the podium, so I was just like, yeah, I'm doing good, but I never really won. So it got to the point where I would get a couple wins, and I'm just like, yeah, I really want this now. I want to keep being up here.
Where do you think you want to go with your racing? Do you have an idea yet, or are you just happy to be?
We've always thought about it.
Yeah.
We're always planning of what we're going to do and what we want to do. So I'm third-year apprentice now. I go fourth year next May. I'm going to try to get my TAFE done and sign off early and all that stuff. And then, I'll be 19, maybe 1 more year or 2 more years in Oz. Maybe next year and the year after. Then I want to hopefully go chase Europe, do a couple years in Europe, and then see how that goes. And then that's the main plan. So go to Europe, do good over there, get like the good ride, and then.
So do you want to go to Europe because it's just something different? You're chasing the money, you're chasing the glory. What motivates you?
To be the world champion.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But the money's going to come. Like if you end up being a world champion, you're going to not be struggling with money. So
Yeah.
Well, I just hope that I can get to the point where I can use my racing to set myself up for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So, like, hopefully I'd put the commitment in for the next, what's I'm 18 now, let's say 10 years. And then we go Europe, and I make good money, win a couple world titles, and I come back here, get into real estate, or just set myself up so I don't have to be stressed for the rest of my life. Like, just work until I'm 50 and retire. Like, I'm going to try to set myself up so I can come back and
Yeah. Well, you'll have the skills.
live the life that I want to live.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to work until you're 50. That's not really what you...
Depends what it is. It's kind of fun.
Well, it
You
depends
might
what
enjoy
it. Is,
it. Yeah, it depends what you're doing.
Yeah, I just want a bit of freedom when I...
Yeah. So, but you and Kyron must be chatting about Europe. You know, he's just been over there. He's a couple of times now, and he's had some success.
Yeah, I always ask him how it was and what he thinks he could do better and what he, like, because he's obviously very competitive over there.
Yeah.
It's just, hopefully, I'm going over the 6 day, not too far away. So
yeah,
hopefully I can get my feet wet over there and see how it
Check
goes.
out how many 6'4" guys are over there.
Yeah, probably not that many.
Yeah. It was interesting watching you and Kyron ride together. You have very different styles because of the way, I don't know, your height and that sort of thing. He's just, I don't know, he's all clutch and just bouncing off little rocks. Yeah.
You know, I'm a bit like, I just pick my line and use my length and my technique to make it look smooth.
Yeah. We'll talk about training in a sec, but another thing, like we've talked before about hard enduro. You were almost going to go to one this year in Australia.
I was planning to.
Yeah, Tenterfield. Do you reckon before you head over to Europe in the next couple of years, you might have a little crack and
well, if they become
an
MA series, like
it's an MA series.
Well, it isn't this year, but there have been talks that they're going to change. So that was if MA were going to continue. Well, they were going to continue with MA. Yamaha wanted a rider to do it.
Yeah.
And be competitive, and so they asked me to do it. I was all happy to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it could. Well, if they go MA next year, it'll be chats, and I'll be thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, because
anything can happen.
It'll be an Australian Championship. Because if it's an Australian Championship, Yamaha will want someone there to compete in it. But then I'll double it up with AORC as well.
What interests you about hard enduro?
Well, just the challenge, really.
Yeah.
Because they all talk like it's meant to be hard, and we ride techie stuff, and I've always pride myself on being able to be good in the technical. So, what's going there, and it's really just I've never actually been to one and watched it or competed in one, so it'd be all learning for the first little bit, and then after I get my feet wet and have a go and see what I can do.
What it would be interesting to see is how you manage the fitness side of things, because the races can be so long, like just a lot longer than AORC stuff. And the top riders in Australian hard enduro talk about just managing their heart rate.
Yeah.
Just they could ride faster, but it's 5 hours into the event and they're just exhausted.
I feel like AORC riders train more like motocrossers than we do like hard enduro or endurance. Like, so we're very much like, you'd say, more motocross training, like more shorter stuff, intense. But then we still do 3 hour cross countries, which are 3 hours non-stop at race pace.
Yeah.
So, and they're hard to manage.
Yeah. Talk me through a 3 hour race. Like, how are you at the beginning compared to the end? Like,
well, a 3 hour
is
very hard because it's funny because you go start dependent. If you get a good start is how you manage. So if you get a good start, you're out front, and then you might go 95% for the first lap, and then you kind of manage like 90, 95 the whole race. But then like at the last one at SA last round, I got a shocking start like at the back. So I had to put in 100 for the first probably 3 laps. So they were half an hour laps. So I 100% for the hour and a half. And then we got to the end, and I was, by 2.5 hour mark, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
But I felt it, and then you look at the times, but I didn't drop my times. So I stayed very consistent, but I just didn't have that push at the end. So like the ideal is you push at the start a little bit to get and then you manage the gap to second or third or wherever you're placing. And then in the last couple laps, you depends how you fit. Like if you're at optimal fitness, you will try to push that last lap or lap and a half or something.
Well, I've just started wearing a heart rate monitor while I go riding,
Mm.
just because at my age, fitness is everything. It's all just about managing energy levels and trying to be fitter. So I've been wearing a heart rate monitor, and it's always peaking. Like I try something hard or do a hard section and peak up, and then I'm like bringing my heart rate down without even realizing it. It's just managing it naturally, because otherwise I won't be able to get to that next peak. I can't sustain just need to, like, I'm not stopping riding, but you got to have some recovery while you're riding. Do you think you're doing that, or have you ever worn a heart rate monitor?
Yeah, I was big into probably year ago or year and a half, I got big into the heart rate and the Garmin's and the stats, and it's all just trying to improve. It's like you're trying to find, if you can prove, like you still got to ride your bike and be fit and be able to ride your bike for the whole time. So it's funny because there's different ways you have to train to get that peak performance. So you got to, like, do you understand base training? Or
Tell me about
you're not
it.
at that level yet?
Maybe I do, but maybe not by explaining it that way. Yeah, tell us about it.
So base training is like low heart rate.
Yeah.
Like, so longer, but you
like
keep your heart rate.
zone 2 or whatever.
Yeah, zone 2.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you got to have, I think they call it, if you think about like triangle, your base has to be bigger so you can get your peak. So the wider your base is, the further up you can go. So it's like, it's funny because it's like a 2-3 month process. So you start probably like straight after Christmas for us, because our first round's not till like end of March. So we'll be base training like probably like 5-6 hours a week, keeping a heart rate like just not super high output stuff. And then because
But doing what exercises?
Like running, cycling, mainly cycling. Cycling's very easy to keep that.
And that's where you're at a level that you can talk, right?
Yeah.
That's zone 2.
It's not meant to be hard.
Yeah.
Because us riding the motorcycle is high intensity, high heart rate stuff. So it's just getting that big. You just got to put in the hours really. And if you do a lot of hours, a lot of low heart rate stuff, you'll find that you got to go long and low before you can go short and fast.
So how long are you doing this base training?
You'd be like probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So you'd be riding your moto as well in them times, but your main off the bike training is just these low heart rate, probably a couple hours every time.
So after you've done that 6 weeks of base training, what do you do then? What do you introduce?
Well, you start going shorter and faster. So you start doing, so it'd be like shorter rides, but higher intensity and higher heart rate. So you move from like probably say 2 hour cycles or 2-3 hours, an hour and a half, but you'd be putting in more. So you'd be like so you'd be doing 120, 130 heart rate base training, and then you move it to like 150, 160.
That's a good thing about you being your age, because 220 is meant to be your maximum heart rate.
220 minus age.
Yeah, but you don't have to minus too much. I got to minus a lot. Yeah.
I'm funny because my heart rate is very low. I have a very low resting heart rate and a very low. So I'll be racing and my heart rate I don't peak to 200 like I should be able to, but I don't need to get to where. So I reckon when I'll be sprinting, I'll be only getting to 170, 180, and that's where I get to. Because I feel like I'm at that fitness level to where, but it's genetic too. I just have a slow.
So can you push it if you need to? Can you get it higher? Like, have you ever tested it?
Well, I feel like I run out of output. So like, I don't need to be at 200 to get that max effort.
Yeah.
So it's funny because some people, when they put in their max effort, that they'll get to 200. But when I put in max effort, I don't get there. It's funny. So people say that I'm not training to max threshold, but when I'm at that effort, I'm still ahead of a lot of people.
Do you have a trainer, like who's put this together? No. I wonder what a trainer would say. They'd test to see if that's right, I guess.
Yeah, well, this is just what I've worked out over. So a lot of stuff I've learned and I believe is what I've figured out is best for me. Because a lot of things can work for a lot of people, but it's what works for you.
Do you do weights?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you introduce the weights into, like, you got your base and then you
Yeah.
start after 6 weeks, then you introduce high heart rate. Where does the weights come in?
So it's funny because weights, you're trying to be as lean and light as you can without being, or as strong as you can while being as light. And like, I'm on the heavier side because of my size. I'm 90 kilos, but I'm strong in the gym.
Well, mass moves mass, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I should be able to move.
Yeah.
Because if I'm 90 kilos and I can't move weight, it's like I'm just weak.
But so you got to be careful not to lift low, like high weight, low reps. You try and do lighter weight, higher reps, or how are you doing it?
So you do progressive overload, which is you start at 8, you go all weight, and then you get, by the time, so you get over 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll get to 12 reps, and then you up the weight, and then you go back to 8. So it's because you're trying to get stronger.
Yeah.
Because when you're stronger, it always helps. And then I'm riding a 450, so it's like, it's not like I need to be super light.
Yeah.
Because I have the horsepower. But it's like, so your week's scheduled, so you have like Monday weights, Tuesday you cycle, Wednesday weights, Thursday, or you ride Wednesday like motos. And this is all around work too.
Yeah.
So
I know. Like, how do you do it?
So I do 8-hour days at work.
And you're an apprentice, so you're lifting all the
the
dodgy jobs.
I'm busy at work, and then I come home and I'll do gym or I'll cycle. Like, the boys at work think I'm crazy. So a big day, and then I'll go to a 40k cycle after work. And it's just like, but you feel better after it. I feel. I'm getting to that stage where I feel.
Yeah, well, you're 18, so.
Yeah, I should be able to put this massive load on myself.
Yeah.
But then you have like a couple, like I get to a point where I'll have Monday off because I'll get through the week and I'll be training all week and I'll ride because I can't ride during the week over like winter and stuff. I ride big Saturday, Sunday, and then I'll normally need Monday off. Like, so I go to work still, but I don't do anything after work.
Yeah, well, you need to recover.
Yeah,
you've got to.
It'll be like one day every 2 weeks that I'll have to. I just know. You usually get to the point and you're like, I need a break.
Well, I've been training 4 to 6 times a week in the last 6 months, and sometimes I just have to have a whole week off. That's how I have to recover. It's just sore all the time, so I'm like, I need a week.
Yeah. So like your pre-season is when you do lots of high volume. So like you're putting in lots of hours and lots of gym sessions and then you get mid-season and you're pretty much just trying to maintain what you built pre-season. So it's hard when you get injured mid-season because you lose all that pre-season effort that you put in. So it's like, let's say you have all this base fitness build up from your 3 months of cycling, and then you get an injury and then you can't cycle for 6 weeks. So then you're chasing your tail trying to get back to a level that you were. So,
what injuries have you had where you've experienced that?
So last year, it would have been May. So done all my pre-season and then we went to the 4-day last year and I broke my collarbone on day 2, and then it wasn't bad enough to get surgery, so it was just like I had to sit. I was meant to sit 6 weeks, but I was back at work after 4.
Could you do anything? Like, could you, I don't know, do squats or something?
Yeah, I was sitting on a cycle bike every day trying to keep.
Yeah, of course, cycling.
I was trying to keep what I had.
Yeah.
But I lost all my muscle in the process because for 4 weeks I'm just doing cardio.
Yeah.
So I lost like I was no shoulders to me. I was real skinny looking.
Oh no.
So I put a big emphasis on, after I got back, was just focusing on getting my muscle back and getting my strength.
What exercises are you doing specifically for the bike? Like, to me, I just think of bikes as you like this all the time.
Yeah, it's just
and squatting.
It's just the normal bench press, deadlift, squats.
Yeah.
And then you do like
rows.
Yeah, rows. You just do all the compound lifts.
Yeah. And
it's just because you don't really need, like, a lot of people get real in depth on your isometrics and all these. I'm just big on your compounds, and because Like you split squats and stuff like that, but I don't get too fancy with it. I just do what works.
Deadlifts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get too heavy because that's just risk.
Yeah.
Like we're not chasing numbers, we're just chasing
Yeah, of
strength.
course. I think deadlift's amazing. I've only just really learned how to do it properly. Just got a really good trainer. My back always felt a bit vulnerable, and this guy just tweaked what I did a little bit, and now I feel like I could go so heavy.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel dangerous.
I really, like back when I was like 13, 15, 14, 15, I went to a personal trainer and they taught me all these. So I've seen a lot of people that have taught me like how to do stuff properly and not hurt myself, gym. So now I just use that what they've taught me, and I just do it all. I don't really have a trainer. I just do it all
Well, that's
myself
cool.
now.
You're comfortable with that.
Sure, it's not that hard to work it out by yourself, and then you don't.
Yeah, but sometimes it's good to have someone just to bounce it off. Someone like you can easily by yourself. You can lack motivation or get bored. If you've got a trainer, they can just maybe notice that and go, "Hey, let's change a little thing to, I don't know, keep you engaged," or all sorts of psychological things can happen at any point. Like, well, tell us about the psychology for you. Like, is it easy for you to maintain motivation and just keep your eye on the goal and just charge ahead?
I would say not for me.
Say it's easy?
I'm saying, it's easy to.
Okay.
I don't find it. I don't struggle with. Like, you have your days.
Yeah.
You obviously have your days where you're not feeling. But I feel like I've got to the point. I've been doing it for so long now that I just do it because I know that's what I've got to do.
Created that habit.
Or if I want to be better, I can't.
Yeah.
You don't get better doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like
dreaming.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
Yeah. So I'm not like. It's not like I'm happy. Like, I still do it and I still enjoy it. It's just I don't find I have to motivate myself to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I just seem to find myself doing it now.
Do you motivate your dad? Does he work out with you?
No.
He could lose a few kilos.
Nah,
could you motivate him?
He's funny. He enjoys. He was never really serious about racing back when he was my age.
Yeah.
So
I just know how hard it is to ride when you're unfit. Man.
He struggles with because he doesn't have he needs a goal. So he doesn't have a goal at the moment. So he's just lacks that motivation. But when he's got like he wants to go race a 4-day or he wants to go to a big event, he seems to lock in, and then he gets into that, and he drops down when he's racing. Seriously, like, he does drop down the kilos.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I'm training is because bike riding. Like, I don't care about gyms. I hate gyms, but there's nothing worse than being on the bike going, this sucks.
Yeah, he rides more than me.
Oh, really?
He rides a lot more than I do.
Ah.
So his bike fitness is unreal.
Ah, right.
And then you got bike fitness, which is another thing.
Yeah.
Which is just time on the bike.
Yeah. How many hours a week would you reckon you'd be riding?
It's not that much, really. I'd say 2.5 hours if I'm lucky.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's mainly on the weekends.
Is that enough?
I could see benefit out of doing more.
Yeah.
But it's just with the way with work and stuff like that. Like, as soon as I get through an apprenticeship, I'll organise myself so I have more time to ride. Because at the moment it's just I do what I'm told because I'm an apprentice.
Do you I don't know, work with any younger kids? Like, you're in a mentor kids. Like, that kids would look up to you now. You've made it. You're in the team.
I do, but I don't realise it. Like, so we go riding. We got mates at home that younger, so a couple years younger than me, and it's funny because I have this serious side to me, but then when we go riding, I just enjoy riding so much, so it's become a big goofball. So, like, they never really see the serious, but they see, like, the way I ride and the way I do stuff, and I'm obviously fit, that they like, obviously, they try to copy what I'm doing because they obviously look up to me.
Do the kids ever ask you, I don't know, any interesting questions? Or do you just give them advice, or just
we do coaching. Like, I do a little bit of coaching with some people, and not much, but whenever I'm asked, and it's like they do. It's funny because kids listen to me, like, and they're always their dads are telling me, "Oh, go talk to my kid because he won't listen to me," and so then I go talk to them, and they'll actually listen, and they'll try, and they'll implement what I'm saying. And
do you remember older people talking to you when you were younger?
Yeah, like, I remember all Dad's mates was every time I'd ride, like,
Yeah.
and I'd get stuck or something or get on something tricky, they'd always give me advice and give me little tips of what they, and like, we'd go riding with 10, 12 people. So
Yeah.
I'd be getting 10
Yeah.
different ways of doing stuff each time I
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah.
So it was always like, oh, I could do this. And then if that didn't work, I'd try a different
Yeah.
way.
Well, what about racing? Because I know when my son races, a lot of older racers will come up and go, "Oh, good job out there." Just a little thing, it just carries him for days. It means so much, which is so interesting because it seems like nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because like when I started racing, like I started going to seniors and you start beating these older guys like Greenie and people like that, and they were pumped that I was getting, because I was getting close to him, and he wanted to see me improve, which was good.
Yeah.
And when I beat him for the first time in a New South round, he was stoked. He was.
That's cool.
And it was like, it's funny because the older guys don't knock us down in enduro. They don't try to bring it, they're always trying to help, and they're always trying to, because they always want us to do good, because they're obviously at the tail end of their racing career, and we're just starting, so they always want to see us improve and do well.
And they get a lot of, Greenie's a coach, so he loves seeing success.
He's always looking for how to improve, and he obviously, because as a coach he wants to help people improve and do their, get to their goals and achieve their goals.
Yeah. Do you reckon you might have put him into retirement?
He
saw what was coming?
You could say that. We always joke about it with him.
Yeah. How do you reckon you're going to go next year? Is number one the only position you're going to entertain?
Oh, it's the goal.
Yeah.
It's the goal. And then,
well, what do you got to do to get there?
Well, it's just a lot of things of just understand, because I'm still learning. I'm only 18 and there's a lot of stuff that I got to learn. This year was a big learning curve, because I haven't won a race really all year.
Yeah, you love third.
Yeah, a lot of thirds. But it's I'm happy because I'm in the most competitive class, and my outrights are I'm still getting fourth and fifth outright and sixth. So I'm competitive. It's just because I'm in the competitive class. But it's all the guys around me are all mid-20s. Kyron and Corey are 21, 22. So I'm kind of the next. So they're young, and then you got Milner and Jonte and Jai and Andy, people like that are a bit older and they've got more experience than what I do. And
well, so what do you think you need? What experience do you just need? I don't know, time in racing?
Well, it's just more racing, really.
More racing?
Because they've done so many more races than what I've done.
Yeah.
They just know these little things of what to do and what.
Are you riding? Do you see anything they do and go, oh, that's interesting? Or is that just too difficult to see them do stuff?
I feel like I do stuff pretty good. And I'm just trying to. Well, it's funny because when you race, it's so hard to ride like you want to.
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of people will race and they never race as good as they practice, or they never can race to their full potential. So really, it's just trying to, if I know what I'm capable of, and when you ride to my full potential, the results come from it.
So that's interesting. Talk us through why you can't race like you want to.
Well, it's usually a bit of nerves and you might feel a bit of pressure because you got someone that you looked up to, or you right behind you or in front of you, and you kind of feel out of your zone, out of your comfort zone. But now it's just I'm used to being where I am, and now I'm trying to push forward. And when you push that edge, you kind of get it's hard because you might get arm pump or stuff like that, and you're a bit tight.
Have you got a routine that you start a race with, to help you not have those nerves, to help you do things like race to your potential?
I try to put just a mental casualness on it, so I don't put too much emphasis on I'm gonna put that I'm gonna win, I need to win, all this stuff. I'm just I need to go out there and ride the best I can. But I'll wake up and I'll stretch and I'll do all these things so I feel good on the bike. Because if you feel good on the bike is when you usually, and then I'll be a bit nervous before we start, but then as soon as that bike starts up, I'm usually I'm in race mode.
You stretch. Do you do any warming up, like closer to the actual race?
Yeah,
Like, what do you do?
well, it's just like, depends how warm the day is and things like that. So the last cross country because you don't get a side lap or warm up anymore, I was on my cycle bike warming up. So you get the heart rate up a little bit and get the blood flowing before you get out there and go from sitting there on the line at 80 heart rate to straight to 180.
Yeah.
And you're just peaking, and that's when you usually blow up. And because there's so much difference between 80 and 180, that there's so much stuff going on that if you're like already got there and you're warmed out, like you warm up and then you cool down and then you're ready to go back up to.
You obviously get arm pump.
I think I get arm pump, but it's not usually that bad. So I probably don't get arm pump to the level
that I get it.
Yeah, like I think it's arm pump, but I don't think it really is. I think it's just a bit of a tightness or a.
Yeah. Do you think you know what causes that, like, and how to make sure it doesn't happen? Like, I think for me, I get arm pump. I have to make sure I really warm up and ease into a ride. You know, because my arm pump, if I get it, it will go away.
Yeah.
But if I can ease, the more I can ease into a ride, I don't get it. It's just like, I don't know, bad technique at the beginning.
Mostly based on if my bike setup's not right. So if I'm fighting the bike or trying to because like I'm big enough to manhandle it, and it's like if I have to manhandle it more than usual, I'll usually get arm pump. So if it's like you got to get all the bikes, because if the bike setup's right, you shouldn't get arm pump.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I need to set my bike up better, maybe.
Yeah, so it's like if my bike setup's really good and I'm happy with it, I won't get arm pump and I'll feel comfortable. But it's so hard going from race to race
because of the different terrain.
Yeah, to get it set up as quickly as. So it might take you 2-3 sprints to get it where you want.
Yeah.
But
what sort of adjustments are you making in between those sprints?
Oh, it could be just a couple clicks here and there, or sag changes, or there's a lot of things we can change now, and there's a lot of adjustability.
But it's suspension?
Mostly suspension.
I guess what else are you going to do? Bar position?
Well, you should have that set up.
Yeah.
So it's really suspension and then mapping with the Yamaha, because it's so easy to change.
Yeah.
But then other than that, you're not really changing much other than that.
First position next year, that's going to be cool.
That's the goal, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you don't want to say that. Like you want it to be, that's the goal, but.
Well, I just don't like I don't like being cocky. Yeah. I like the riding to do the talking.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I don't want to sit here and say I'm going to be the best and I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, and then I get out there and I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'd rather say it's the goal, and then if I can do it on the bike.
Of course, yeah.
Or if I can do it on the bike, then that's going to
What do you think when people like Jet Lawrence say, yeah, I'm gonna do it?
Well, that's because he's done it and he's up there. It's funny when you've done it and you're confident in what you're doing. Like you see Hayden Deegan's doing it all the time. So because he's winning, he's talking all this shit.
Yeah.
Because he's up there winning, and it's like you can't really bag on him because he's winning.
Yeah.
He's doing what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't really, because last year he wasn't really saying much because he wasn't winning.
Yeah, and he was careful how he went into up to the pro level, and
so it's like I'll get to the point where if I start winning, I'll be a lot more confident in what I'm saying because I'm there. But at the moment, because I'm still like your second, third kind of guy, that is the goal. Like that is the goal to win. But I won't run my mouth and say I'm going to do it before I have done it.
Sure. Yeah. When you're not racing, when you're not training, when you're not working, when you're not thinking about how to improve, what do you get up to in your spare time? Do you have any other little interests?
You got your typical, you're getting, I've got cars and stuff.
What do you got?
Oh, I got a Falcon Ute, stuff like that we go have fun in on. And then I've got mountain bikes and stuff like that, which is different. It's similar, but it's different.
What Falcon Ute have you got?
Just a BA.
Yeah.
I bought it for $3,000 off some bloke at home.
What are you doing to it?
You just put wheels and it's got an exhaust and stuff on it, and it goes out there and it loves a dirt road.
Yeah, right.
You just have fun. We're in a pretty rural area, so it's you can get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, right. Do you ever get down into Lismore and do some blockies?
Oh, I've done it, yeah. I've done it. I wouldn't say I haven't.
Yeah.
So, a couple of industros.
A couple of what?
Industrial states.
Oh, right.
You get out of the industrial state.
Yeah, just finish off some tyres. Yeah.
I got it and then I got my moto van, so it's not all just I want to get into the 4B side of stuff.
For camping or for
Yeah,
doing
just
some
to-
hardcore full
Oh,
driving?
I reckon a bit of both. Like I wouldn't mind a bit of hardcore stuff, and then like not really much touring because I don't really have time for that.
Yeah.
Like going to see stuff, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind just going up the beach or a couple like just go for an arvo trip down the beach or go for a weekend camping. You take the bike, then you also have the 4-drive. It's just need to find time to.
Oh man, you're so busy. I just can't even comprehend it. Well, speaking of busy, thanks for your time.
No worries.
You got a big couple of days
Yeah.
ahead of you.
Yep. Last 2 rounds.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure you do well. And I just hope one day we get to see you at a hard enduro.
Maybe not that too far away.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Will.
No worries.